We are live. Hello. Hello, hello,
Hello,
hello.
hello, hello.
All right. So, did everybody finish the books?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I
I
read both of
did.
them.
Is this the first time that we've all finished the books?
I think so.
Yeah. I
Holy
mean,
crap.
I only didn't the first time. I've been good every other time. I mean, I barely make it because it's always the same week that I'm getting some other stuff finished, but I did it.
Yeah.
We'll see about next month when we have to do 3, but
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't
Next
anticipate
week we
reading
do
all
have
three
3.
of them.
Yeah.
we shall
That is
see.
right. We do have 3 next month. Okay. Hello, everybody who's watching.
Hello,
Hi,
hello, hello.
friends.
Yes. Okay. So, let me get my little cool graphics here. Installment inspection. Expect. You
I
can
was like,
read.
what is
There you
that?
go.
We're having an
Expectation.
inspection.
Yeah. Installment inspection, guys. So, what was your guys' take on them? Which one were you looking forward to? And did it meet it? Yes, no. What you got?
Go ahead, Jen.
Well, I mean, I was pretty excited to read an MM. I love MM. And I mean, I also love Captor Captive, which I was like, wait, did we accidentally make this Captor Captive? Because it didn't happen until like 70% into it or something.
Yeah.
But the MM definitely did not meet my expectation.
It didn't?
Not one bit. So I have
Aw.
definitely some stuff to say about that. But
Okay.
um, I mean, I didn't hate either of these. I actually enjoyed Goddess quite a bit. Besides like rolling my eyes at it, like I still
I
enjoyed
did
it.
that too.
Like I did, like I rolled my eyes at it when some certain plot points happened because I'm just like, the fuck, like are we doing? But like I had a good time with it. Like it had me either like kind of laughing at it in a good way, not in some of the other ways. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, like I don't have expectations anymore. I feel like we got to get rid of that question because the
Okay.
expectations are gone. I mean, I'm just like, let's just not ask it anymore because
Okay. That's fair enough.
I mean, we absolutely can, but I'm like, I don't have them anymore because I'm just like, I'm reading them. Like, I'm gonna read them. We'll
Yep.
see if I DNF or I finish it. And I finished. Neither of them were like painful to complete, but yeah. Anyway, I'll stop now. Someone
Becky,
else.
what you got?
I told my friend, I was like, I hated Goddess, so Jackie and Jen are sure to love it.
I mean, I did not love it. Let's be
I did not love it
Oh,
either.
I
love
hated it. Well, let me put it this way. I
you're
hated it, but it made me laugh because it was so ridiculous.
yeah.
It got a chuckle out of me. And
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed Heat.
Oof.
It like I didn't have any expectations going into it, but I
Sure.
thought it was a super cute little MM romance, and I liked it.
I was excited about both of them actually. One because I did what you said, Jen. I looked at Brian Stacks and I was like, "Yep, I'm super excited about this. I'm fucking down for this. Bring this guy on." Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
That was great.
doesn't mean he
um,
can write.
I just kind of wish I knew what portions he wrote so I could kind of like. I think I have an idea, but I don't want to actually assume because it didn't specifically say. But I
Yeah.
was really excited about that one for that reason. And then Heat, I was excited because it's my first MM of the year. So I was excited about that.
Nice.
So I actually had a good time with these. I didn't necessarily love both of them, but I did have a very good time with both of them. But I got some stuff to say.
Yeah.
Don't we always?
For those who are watching, if you guys read the books, what'd you guys think? Just put in the comments and we'll come back. So let's see. All right, tropes. So Goddess was pegged as a dark romance captive, and the other one, Heat, was MM blacksmith hero. That's what we gave. Was there anything that should have been added or taken away?
That's why I thought it was a freaking like what did I tell you I thought Goddess was? I thought it was a human trafficking story.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
why I thought that. And I
Mhm.
was reading it and I was like, oh, I don't know where that came from. That's why I thought that was that. I think Heat probably should have been like a workplace romance.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it also like says small town in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let
that
me
fits.
bring up our
It
trope
definitely
thing.
has small town.
Virgin Hero, that could have worked too.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's also, I mean, it's also, yeah, gay awakening for sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
That's
I would have liked to known that going in because it would have explained some of the things I had, and I'm like, oh, okay, this totally makes sense now. Yeah, we just have captor, captive, force proximity. That's what we put down. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And what it fit? Well, Goddess, the thing is like it does have tropes of a dark romance because she in the beginning, like she's running from an abusive, situation, gets into some squirrely situation while hitchhiking. The guy's like lying to her, even if it's for like a good reason, like he's lying to her. So like it does technically have like dark romance aspects to it, but it was not written as one at all.
Yeah,
So
no.
that. And again, like I was like, wait, captive, like when? I was waiting for him to take her, but he takes her to his mom, and I was just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he does. Like she does get captive by him, but again, it's like for the government or something. So
Yeah, I was definitely in that one. I was like,
it's when
when is she gonna get captured?
Yeah.
When's this
I
happening?
almost wish I didn't know that it was captive.
Yeah.
Like I wish I wouldn't have, because I was like waiting for it, and by the time I'd given up that it was gonna be, then he took her, and I was like, oh no.
And I was like, where, what, huh?
Yeah. So I kind of wish I had just seen like, Girl in Trouble.
Mhm.
That. So anyway.
I liked the Blacksmith Hero definitely, but I agree with you, Becky, that it should have been marked as like a workplace thing because they started off working together, and I like workplace romances, not in real life, but in books, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
But
They're good in real life too. That's how my parents met.
for some people they work.
Right.
Some people they work. But I kind of wish like Goddess was the one that was kind of like, okay, when's this gonna happen? There was other stuff there, and I think it should have been pegged as that. Like, so she's running away from her. They weren't actually married, were they?
No, I think
They're
they
just
were just
engaged.
engaged.
Huh?
It was her fiance. Her like dad forced her into it.
Yeah. So we've got that, which I kind of would have preferred to have known about. And then we have, they could have even been a small town too, because that area that she went to was really small. Like everybody kind of knew him and had like a reputation and stuff. Maybe even like a suspense element. Like there wasn't a lot of suspense, but there was still some suspense in that one because of like what he did for a living, which I still don't really actually fucking know what he did for a living.
Yeah.
Like they never really clearly say that. He just like, I work for this, but I don't actually work for them.
Well, he was like what's it called? He was like a contractor for witness protection or something.
Yeah, it's what it sounded like.
And I was like, I feel like the CIA doesn't do it that way, but what the fuck do I know about them? Because that's like how I took it. But so when I fill out my form for the book, I did put it as a suspense.
Okay.
Because I didn't feel like dark fit. Because for me, I track it by if it's dark, historical, blah, 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 blah. Like I do that. So I put this one as suspense. And then I did force proximity, captive. Like those are what I picked after reading it, even though the captive is such a small part of it. And she's not even really like, because she's not his captive.
Yeah.
Like he's the one doing it. But for me, like captive usually has some kind of like a more dangerous feel from the person who does the capturing.
Mhm.
So yeah, I feel like it still doesn't even really fit that, even though he's like, you can't leave. It's like, yeah, but it's not like him who's saying she can't leave. It's
Yeah.
like the entity is like, we need to keep you safe from this dude or whatever. Anyway.
It was so loose captive that the author had to have them say it.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that was like my little captive can become a pet name. It's like you have to say it. It's not captive. You have to keep telling me it's captive. Like
Yeah.
mute point.
It was like if they labeled it as dark, it was like a light dark. It was like gray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the tropes weren't really successful for this, minus the clearly obvious ones. All right, here we go. What worked in Goddess?
What did? Oh, it was funny. I laughed.
So you
It was-
laughed. You like this one, Becky? So why don't you?
No, it was
this
so ridiculous. I laughed. I will say that it had a wide variety of smut scenes.
Yeah.
I felt like, I mean, there were like 90 of them, so it should have been varied.
There were 4.
Really? That's it?
Yes.
God,
Becky had me all like, this is why, Becky, I appreciate it, but I can't watch when you tag me in these because I'm like, I don't want to be spoiled or I have nothing to look forward to in these tiny books. Can't do that to
I
me.
felt like they were having sex every freaking page.
They were not. There was 4.
They had some pretty long sex scenes for sure.
Yes,
they
definitely had longer sex scenes than was
Yeah.
in fucking Heat.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Look
I
at
don't know. I thought it was a lot of
Okay.
smut for the number of pages that this book
Yeah.
had.
I think it definitely has, but I also think that it feels that way too because none of these have. I'm just being straight up. A lot of novellas, like that's the point, is it's like we get into the story as soon as we can. We have the relationship stuffing as soon as we can. We get out as soon as we can. Like that's the purpose of a novella, is to show a short chunk of whatever, right? So you get in, you do it, you get out. And so many of these are like novella length, but they don't have novella content. And so they end up feeling like a half-assed novel instead of a novella. Does that make sense? I
Yes.
said that about a lot of the books so far because some of them who've had really good, like they've had that spark where we're like, I was really interested, but then it's shortchanged because they made it short. And then there's ones where I'm like, I feel like this could have just been like a weekend story. It then like feels too long because there's not enough content for what they put in it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess
That's how I felt.
it made sense because didn't he say he was like a sex addict too or some shit like that?
Yeah, he had a very high sex drive.
That
It's
he
like-
did.
Like,
Yeah.
whatever. I mean,
I
that's
think
fine.
it also irked me because I felt no
Later.
chemistry between them either. So it was just like sex, and no chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what worked in this is I like the mom. I like the
Yeah,
mom.
I
Thought
didn't
she
even
was
get to
cool
the
people.
bitching on it.
I liked it.
I liked the
I liked her a lot, especially when we found out like how she became the mom. She was originally the nanny, and like I liked that little backstory that we got for him. I was like, that's fucking cool. We got more of a backstory for him than we did for her, which was fine because it was fine. I like the mom. I like the mom. I like the fact that she instigated some of the sex scenes. I like to see that. When she went in the shower and like actually started the physical chemistry. I thought that was pretty dope. Because I'm always for that, starting shit. And yeah, that's me. What worked in it for me. It was very lackluster for me. I had to find stuff.
Me
Yeah.
too. When I was writing my review, I'm like, I want to give this 2 stars, but what are 2 things I like about it? Because that's how I do my reviews. I like try to like list things I like about it. And I was like, this is a 2-star worthy book, but what are 2 things I liked about it?
Oh, I write down everything I think that worked and then everything that didn't work. And then if there's more that worked, then it gets at least a 3. If there's more that didn't work, then I have to figure out if it's a 2 or 1.
Well, that's kind of how I write my reviews. I list the things I like, and then I list the things I dislike, and like I try and like
Yeah.
rate based on the differences.
And then sometimes there's just really fucking kick-ass scenes that give me a whole star. Like I do. Like I just can't get that scene out of my head because it was so well done. Neither of these books had those though. So yeah. Let's see. 100% Abby. Abby Dean have both books. What is 100%? Abby, if you want to let us know what your 100%
when I was saying there wasn't enough, she put it up when I said there wasn't enough for a full story.
Okay. All right.
Like, I was going on that rant. That's okay. That's when she put that.
I didn't see it come up at that time. My bad.
It's okay.
I'm really bad at the comments. I'm really bad at that part. So,
yeah.
All right. Anything else work in these books in Goddess?
I mean, I must have had a better time than I can like articulate it because I rated this one the highest of all the books we've read.
Really?
Yeah, I gave this one a 4.
Oh my god, that is great.
I don't know, like, but it's not because I'm like, oh, this was the coolest thing ever. I just don't like. I just didn't have the will to like nitpick it to death.
Yeah.
Because there's been other ones in this that I've like actively disliked, and I've given them like 3s, and I was like, I don't know. This one had like potential for me. It just wasn't like there. And I don't know. When I like was thinking back on all the other ones we read, I'm like, but I had the best time with this one. I read this one in one sitting and I was kept turning the pages. I still felt like I was missing stuff when it was over. That's why I was like, this wasn't fully fleshed out. But like I had the best time in reading this one that I have of all of them. And I read the most pages of this one that I have of all of them, which I know part of that's the smut. I don't care. A lot of the other ones got boring.
You were looking forward to that. You were like, yay, smut. Because
so
none of the others liked them.
So many of them, they torture me for 200 pages of like angsty shit, and then there's nothing. So I'm like, well, at least you delivered on the smut. Like, I don't know. I'm that type of person that I can find good things. And I was like, ooh, we're actually playing around a little bit. We're doing some things. We've tried it in different rooms, and that's one place. And I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I'm intrigued by like, I like that there was like double panic rooms. There's panic rooms for the staff and for them there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I forgot that element. That was a good one too. That was unique. It was a unique setting. I like the setting of this one. I could say I like the setting.
That was another thing I meant. See, like I said, these also though they're so forgettable. Like that's the thing too. All these books have been so forgettable. I can't remember the name of characters from like any of these besides hers because her name is the title. But like there was forced proximity in so many different places in this one, which I did think was cool. Like she's like a hitchhiker that he picks up. Then she's staying at his like, staying in his town. And then they're at forced proximity in the safe house. What I think was unbalanced is I think they needed to be at the safe house longer. I wish that they hadn't maybe like had sex until the safe house. And then it was kind of all of it happening there. I don't know. Yeah. Just because it was like really fast, which is fine. They were treating it like a one-night stand before, which is totally fine. But I liked the stuff about once we knew who he really was and what his job really was. And I wish we could have heard some stories about, like other jobs that he'd done, more of that. But I really enjoyed the forced proximity at the safe house and like how set up the safe house was, because I love places like that. Like I love it in survival scenarios and like in like protection. Anyway, so when I was done, it's not that it's necessarily a full-blown 4, but I've also shared like I have a 6-star tier system. So this means like I liked it more than the 3-star ones we were doing. So I don't have a problem giving it a 4 because it's not it's not tough for me. But I've given ones in this series DNFs, 2 stars, 3s, and 3.5s, and I was like, and I did enjoy this one the most. So I gave it a 4, even though if I hold it against other books that got a 4-star, like it's not, but I'm more so holding it against other books in this series when we rate. Right? Like by the time we finished all of these, like I will probably give a book a 5-star that isn't a 5-star to me, but it's a 5-star among these. If you like, I fully want to give one of these a 5-star. That's like, hey, this is the best one I've read out of 26 books. It's a 5-star, even if it's like, but I'm holding it against a Pam Godwin that's a 5-star, and you're trash, you know.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Anyway,
I gave this a 3-star because I had a good time with it, but it was hard trying to find things that like genuinely worked for the novel. And when I mean worked, it wasn't just stuff that I liked. It
Yep.
was stuff that further perpetuated the story. So the setting, the second part of the setting was pretty dope. I did like the safe house when you mentioned that, Jen. I was like, oh yeah, I remember liking that part. That was kind of cool. Also, kind of felt bad for the people that got the not so safe room, I guess.
Right.
I was like, man, that kind of bites. But yeah, so this one was only a 3 for me. But anything else work in this one, or do you guys want to move on to Heat?
We can move along.
Okay, so what worked in Heat? I gave this a 4-star. This so far is the highest one for me.
Too. I gave it 4 stars too.
I thought this was just very sweet. Like it just there wasn't a lot that like seriously didn't work, but there wasn't a lot that seriously worked either. But it was a nice, sweet story. Like there wasn't, and after everything else I've been reading this past week, I was like, I'm good with a nice, sweet story where people just are kind of nice to each other, and that's fine.
I gave this one a 2.5.
Oh, shit.
I knew it. I called it.
Yeah. But I mean, mine isn't because it wasn't sweet. It absolutely was sweet. But I found it like racist is the wrong word because it's not race that has to do with it. But I found the way that Daughtry was written to be super condescending and gross. Like I just
really very dumb.
I mean, yeah, we're in the what worked part, so like I can save it for the don't work. But I feel like the author writing, like I got what he was going for, like how he was trying to write him, but it was like you wrote him dumb instead of like grumpy and innocent. You wrote him dumb. And I just found it so condescending. It was grating my gears by the end of it. Like, I totally get why people would see it as sweet, but yeah, it's also tough for me. Oh, I should stop. I'll let you guys gush about what you like first because I have a lot that I don't like. What worked for me was the setup of the story. The tropes of the story worked. The tropes were what they said. It was a cute small town. I love that the small town was like more accepting than they like thought it was. Because I mean, obviously it helps that your boyfriend can beat anyone up if they were mean to you because he was being treated badly like when he was a kid in a really like bigoted town. But it also more seemed like the town maybe just wasn't used to having gay people. Like they only know of the one. And so they haven't tried to get to know him much because we didn't really see people being bigoted to him. We only saw
the one guy kind of get in his face.
Yeah, we only saw it, which is fine. Like it's very clear that this author didn't want to focus on that because that tends to be what any like gay book can have in it is people doing that. And so I appreciated that the author didn't go that way with it. But let me see what else. Yeah, and I like that he was a blacksmith because I knew I would like that. I love that that was his craft and that's what he was doing. And I'll save everything else for the other part of what didn't work for me. So.
All right, Becky, what did you like?
Go for it.
What? Great, put me on the spot. Okay, so I liked that he was an older virgin. I liked that. Yeah. I liked that he was finding love for the first time in his 30s. You know, because you never see that in freaking romances of older people finding love for the first time. So he's young folk. So I liked that. I liked. Goddamn, I can't remember the other things I liked about it. See? What did I also liked that he was a blacksmith. I thought his little whole artsy thing was cute and how that worked out and all that jazz. And I liked that the town wasn't as like bigoted as I thought it was going to be. Although I thought it was like a really like in the beginning, I thought they were going to be a bigoted town, but by the end, it was like, okay, that was a real quick turnaround there because you gave me the impression that everybody in this town hated this guy, and then all of a sudden, y'all love him. I thought that was good, but I thought it was just a really like polar dynamic there.
What did you
And
say, Jen? You cut out on that one.
I think he just didn't try, is the point. You know,
Yeah.
like he would always go to the city for fun, obviously, because that's where the gay people are, or he thinks so. But I also feel like he did his computer stuff and didn't go anywhere. You know,
Could.
because people in school are always going to teach, whether you're gay, whether you're fat, whether you're ugly or whatever. Like people in school are going to be mean. Not that they should, but I mean, I think we forget they do that. But did he try after school? That's my question. Did he try to know people after school or just give up? But anyway, yeah, the town did turn around.
Sweet, and I just liked that the characters were older and finding love later in life, and I liked, you know, how they had their cute little moments together. Thought it was sweet.
I liked the fact that it was my favorite aspect of the relationship was all of the teaching moments. I really enjoyed that, and I liked the fact, like, I don't like that he was written to be dumb, because the whole idea, like, he had no idea what the internet was. That was kind of preposterous. I was like, really?
That's exactly it.
I was like, that. Oh, okay, I can understand you not having Wi-Fi, but not knowing what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
No, not. I'm not buying that. But I like the fact that there was kind of like teaching moments, and he worked with him, and it wasn't just, you know, their business relationship that he was working with. He was kind of teaching him in like the gay area and kind of like bringing him out once they figured out that dilemma. I had a good time with this. I didn't have there was things I had a problem with, but the overall sweetness level of this, I just thought it was adorable. Like, it was just a very sweet, nice little story that didn't piss me off. It didn't make me angry. The things that were wrong with it, there are some wrongs. There was one big one, but we'll get to that. But it was.
What did you think of their first sex scene? Because, like, in one of your videos, you said you don't like first-time sex scenes that are unrealistic, and I thought their first-time sex scene was pretty, like,
oh, I loved the first sex scene.
non-realistic. You know, it was pretty.
I had zero problem with it. I don't know what it's like to have gay sex, so I can't speak from experience if it was realistic or not. But I like the fact that they wrote him to be scared and kind of nervous, and kind of the talking through. I enjoyed that, and him not really knowing what to do and what to expect, and the kind of the conversation of like, huh?
There was prep work.
Yeah, there was prep. That was also a big thing. There was preparation for that, because that shit hurts.
Number one proof when a gay novel is written by a man is the level of prep work that's actually done. Just what I'm saying. Oh. You can tell when a gay romance is written by a man. Not only that, there are plenty of women who write it well too. But
I thought T.L. Travis was a girl. I thought I read that she was female.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Unless I was.
I know Ryan Stacks was the male one. I thought. Hold on, we'll just find this out. Internet wants to like work with me here today.
I don't know, but I read that and I was like, oh, Jackie, this isn't like a great first time sex scene. I wonder if you'll like it.
I might be thinking of another one. What?
I had no problem with this sex scene. Like,
no, I didn't have a problem with it. I have other.
You do?
I have other issues. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, it's a her. It says in her spare time she's not weaving steamy webs. Yeah, so T.L. Travis is female.
Okay, I'm thinking of another one. There's just another author that I discovered was a man.
Yesterday. Oh, okay.
And I was reading his bio and I was like, oh my God, this is actually number one too. It's a straight man, but he writes straight romance. So
there you go.
But anyway, sorry about that. But
no, I actually thought the first time sex scene worked because I liked the, I guess, realness of it, because there was a fear element to it. There was a talking through element. There was, you know, hey, are you okay? Kind of element. And I enjoy that. And it wasn't perfect. It wasn't. There was kind of like, there was talking through it, and I enjoyed that. So I didn't really have an issue with it.
I love awkward first sex scenes.
Me too, because that's what they are.
I definitely do. I definitely love them. No, that was great. Yeah. My problem is that it was at 70%, and it was the only time.
I know. I'm like, Sarah's gonna hate this. It does not have
I've got to be clear. I really don't like that like categorization that I only like want there to be smut and stuff. It bothers me that like I'm just being real. If you have two men who discovered that they fit together so well, that not only is this big tough guy willing to be the bottom for someone who's been looking for a bottom all
Yes.
the time, and there's only one time that they have sex when he's just discovered sex. You tell me that a man who's going through his sexual awakening at his 30s and now has a boyfriend for the first time and they're only having sex once. I mean, I know they're not. I'm sure it's happening, but there's no like mention of them getting to know. Like it's not that I had to see. Not that I need.
He's losing stuff over there.
It's not
right.
My dog wanted out.
It's that I needed there to be comments about it, about their intimacy growing and things improving. Like I wanted there to be a comment where like he brushes his hand and he's like, oh, he takes such good care of me. I love how we've like grown. Like there's no reference to their sexuality like growing together and becoming better. Like I didn't have to see it again, but there's no comment to it. Like we have sex one time and we realize that we are a perfect match for each other. And we're not trying it again. There's not even comment on trying it again.
Yeah.
I just have issues with it. I'm like, it's not believable to me.
Well,
that you both
let him spill. What didn't work? Let him spill. Yeah. Let it go.
Yeah. Okay. The other stuff too. Again, I already said how they treated him, how he's dumb. Also, okay, now I feel better that knowing that this was a woman. I don't know why I was thinking TL Travis was a man.
I thought it was a man too, and then I remember reading it was a female because I remember saying we're reading our first male authors.
Yes. But I found the characterization of some other gay men in this book to be offensive.
Oh, yes. Wasn't that? I thought that too.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, if this is a man writing it, like I know sometimes, like, because I've read interviews with gay male authors who would say like sometimes women write men like too nice and gay like they'll say that they're like, you know, it isn't always as sweet as you're like writing thing, blah blah blah. I've read lots of stuff and I was like, why are you making all of them horn dogs? Like why are you making them all like I'm gonna climb him like a tree? Like literally the guy walks in and people are humping him. Like are we not being respectful for his body at all? Like it was so inappropriate.
Like I felt like that was a stereotype of like, oh man, all gay men are just horny all the time. And like it's just like just because you're gay, you ain't gonna be horny for some person you see across the room, you know?
Yeah, and it's one of those stereotypes why like women who write gay romance get a bad rap is when they write stuff like that. Because I was like, you just wrote that gay man so stereotypical that he was ready to like hump this guy's leg and commenting on his dick size the second that he walked into the club when it's clear that like his friend had said this is his first time here. And someone like literally jumps on him to like hump him. And I'm like, you're disgusting. Like, stop it. You are not a good representation of people. Like, rough. Anyway, small thing of it. And then, yeah, again, just so many of the stuff about how he doesn't like, how was he making money without the internet at all or not knowing what it is or wanting to do it? It was just so, it was so frustrating.
That's about it too.
Yeah, I got through this.
It only get you so far. It doesn't really get you out of the state either. So,
right. Like how? Like I don't have email. No, like no. I don't believe it. Like my 6-year-old dad had to have email like 10 years ago, and he's been using it. You know, like he knows how to do this. You can't buy stuff. Like how is he able to buy some of the equipment and things he needs without ordering it? Like maybe he has people who order for him, but we didn't discuss it. I don't know. But I mean, I like that that's the purpose that was bringing the two of them together is that he's like, I need to get to this. But I didn't want him to just be like, duh, every time he said something to him. Like he literally would do that. He would like grunt and be like, and I was like, why are you making him stupid? Like, why are you writing him as stupid? Like you can write him as grumpy and innocent. And I loved the parts that were innocent about him. I did. But it just made him, you know, and even then when he was like, he's a gay awakening unicorn, like I get to be all these first experiences. And then it made me feel like he was taking advantage of him because of the way, not because of his mental capacity, but the way of him being like, he hasn't experimented with anyone. He's like, he's my gay unicorn. And I was like, I didn't find that endearing. I found it condescending by the time it was being said because of the way we characterized this hero. Yes. If we hadn't characterized him that way, I think it would have been more sweet where he's like, we get to do all these first together. And I was just like, I know that's how you mean it. But now you like feel predatory that like there's been no other gay men in your town and you found someone who is like unsure and you can like pounce. And I'm just like, okay, I'll calm down now. Like it's
No,
not
you're fine.
no, it wasn't. I had a perfectly pleasant time reading it. It's just when I finished with it, I was like, there are things that made me feel icky about this. And like we finally get up to the first sex scene where I'm like, I feel how much they love each other in this, how much care was taken for this. And then it was just like, you've been with me 8 months. You've been with me this long. We're moving into like, she skipped right to the end of it. And I was like, oh man, I was finally believing it.
I,
Okay.
my biggest issue was the ending and bringing the mom back. That was stupid. That was dumb. That was pointless. I would have rather you ended it when they got fucking engaged. And I'm telling you, that bitch just ruined his engagement. He would not be that fucking nice to her. No, that was dumb. When they brought that in, I was like, really?
Yeah. That was one thing I didn't like about it. I was like,
why? And then, oh, well, you can stay with us. It's like, no. Like, no, I just, I was like, I kind of want to stop this book at this point because the story is done in my mind. They got engaged. It's over. They're going to have a happy ending. And now you're going to throw this wrench into it. I'm done. Peace.
I felt like in his entire adult life, she couldn't have contacted him sooner. You wait until he's successful. That's what I felt. I felt like she waited until he was successful.
Well, wasn't it because she was able to find him now? Because she
lived in the next town over.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, her and her girlfriend were living in the Taylorsville or whatever.
I think that's where they were staying.
No, I think that's where they were living too.
I thought this was where they were staying for that night, but that's why they stayed with them. But I get your point. Like I understand that he was keeping letters when he was a child, but she knows how old he was. After he turned 18, she could have found him. She could have come back and tracked him down, but she didn't. She waited.
Yeah.
Till he was in his 30s. And his dad was dead for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Pop's been gone a while.
Yeah.
So, I just thought it was dumb. I would have rather just not even had it because it served it didn't develop the story any fucking more. It didn't develop their romance anymore. It was done. No.
Yeah, I didn't like that about it.
The only thing it revealed was that she was gay too. And I'm like, okay, so are you trying to tell me that he's gay because of genetics? It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. I was like, what are the chances of that?
You love, end of story.
You can't accept us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, it was strange.
Yeah. The other thing that I felt didn't work in this, with the 70% thing, that's annoying. That's just annoying when the author waits that long to give us the main connect scene.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't bother me because I've read lots of books that wait
there could have been other stuff. Like they could have been doing the hand job and blow job stuff first.
Yeah.
And then they were interested.
Yeah, but we got one like hand job type scene standing up, and then he goes home. Right. And then a couple months later, then we get the sex scene,
a couple months.
Yeah, it's a couple months. Yeah, it was a couple months later, and I'm like,
we've been dating a couple months. No way.
Yeah, like you could have given me like some more making out or some like oral stuff. Like that was what. Honestly, I didn't see an oral sex scene in this. That pissed me off. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
The timeline of this was so wacky.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too. What are the other things you need to have in the same way in a straight sex scene, you need certain things. In a gay sex scene, it's the perfect kind of 69, okay? I'm just telling you. It's the perfect kind. And that could have been a little show and tell, too, because he'd said, I'd never played around down there. What do? You have a partner who has the same parts as you. You flip them around and you investigate. That's
exactly. Yep.
That's literally what you do. And you'd be like, this is what you're going to do. This is what it's going to be. I'm sorry. It was a perfect opportunity for a teaching, show and tell.
Missed opportunities. This one had a lot of missed opportunities. It did.
You're 30 years old and you haven't touched down there? I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Very few master chores. I'm like, what? Are like... Even the 40-year-old virgin movie, that guy was like going to town on himself
Well,
every night.
It felt hinted at me that he was asexual to a certain degree because he
Okay.
said he never felt anyone about anything. To me, those are hints that I'm looking for. I mean, the author did not say that, so I can't inflect it. But the fact that he like never felt anything about anyone, not even other men, not even women, until like this guy walked in and then his dick gets hard, which is fine. That's something people do when they want to show asexual or
Mhm.
I'm forgetting some of the other terms, but when you fall for a specific person, right? But the fact that like he was like, oh, I'm just not interested at all. Then like you should then explain that more. Like we didn't even talk about that at all. He hasn't felt anything. He's lonely. He lives alone. Well, I guess he doesn't have the internet, so he's never even like watched porn at all either. Has he been buying magazines? Like nothing. He hasn't had any sex drive at all in 30 years.
Yep. And then he researches it and learns all this top and bottom dynamic. And it's like, I think I'm this. You have no idea what you fucking are because you've not shown any interest whatsoever in anything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, didn't he say something like, is it possible to be gay for just one person?
Yes, he did say that.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm not gay, but is that how that works? I don't think so.
Right. That's because that's called something. I'm so sorry. I'm bad with that, but that's that has a name too. But my point being, we didn't explore any of it. Whatever the name is, whatever it is, I pick up on those cues because I've read 1,000+ romances where there's been people who
I think you're thinking of demisexual.
That's the one. Thank you. I've read books where people, demisexual is where you're like, you only are attracted.
Even if you're that, you still find other people attractive. Right. You just don't want to have sex with them until you get to know them.
Right.
Like you're not just out here.
You've still been turned on before. Like, are you telling me the first time he's jacked it was to this guy? Like, no, Abby, gay for you is when like they're all like they can be straight and then they're gay for one person. That's what like gay for you is. But that's still gay. But like gay for you is a type of like gay romance where they've been straight and then they're gay for just one person, which isn't really like what it is. That's just the romance term. That's not a appropriate term. That's a term we're not like supposed to say, but that's what I say still. So you're in the same company. But anyway, the point being, yes, he just would be like, oh, I know this. And it's like, no, that's the author. The author didn't want to do any work.
Mm-hmm.
So much of this book was tell, don't show.
Yeah.
Because she would skip times and then she'd be like, oh, it's been 3 months now.
You were just supposed to imagine that they were doing all that in that 3-month time
skip. Like all it takes is like, it's been 3 months since we've done like we've been doing oral. That's all we've been doing for 3 months. Like they don't even say that. So you think there's been like one hand job in 3 months and that's it?
And then they cuddled on the couch and watched a movie.
Right, which is beautiful. But wasn't this guy, the other guy was just talking about how he needed to get to the club and get some because he hadn't had any forever. And now he has this hot, gorgeous man and he's just fine with cuddling. Like, I just don't believe it. Whether it was a woman or a man, I don't believe it. So anyway, what is strange? What's the...
What? So anything else that didn't work that we haven't touched on in this one?
I don't think so. That's most of it.
Thinker.
Okay. What didn't work in Goddess? I'm going off this one. Those fucking names.
Yeah.
I hate them. Hate them. Goddess sounds like a porn star, and Huxley sounds like a dog on a yacht. I literally told that to my husband, and he's like, is his owner named Chet and plays lacrosse? Because like that's the thing that sounds like it goes together. And I'm just like, I can't. These names are awful. They're awful.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you say that when you're Huxley?
Well, you know that her name was only picked because this author's got G. But think of another name. Like it could have been.
I thought that was going to be her nickname, and she was just shitting people at first when she was like, "Oh, my name is Goddess." I'm like, please tell me that's like an alibi or something. Don't be. And then it ended up being her real. I was like,
When she said that she gave her the fake name, I'm like, okay, maybe the Goddess is the fake. Nope, that's the real one. That's the
why
real
would you do that?
What?
That is a stripper name.
Well, also
anybody needs Goddess out there.
It's also super unique because who's Goddess just running around? Like, she should have picked a different name. Like people be like, "Oh, there's a goddess in that town." Like
Yep.
that's gonna stick.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so
Wearing
here's
a
my other
name
thing.
tag at work.
That didn't
That's
work.
called
When she
goddess.
ran away, I love the fact that she ran away. Like, I like the fact that she did. Like, she
Oh,
didn't
it
take
makes
it anymore.
Yeah.
From the abusive husband, because fuck that guy. Fuck that
Yeah.
guy. He can take a fucking leap. But here's my thing. She only took $500 and he's like a millionaire. Really?
Isn't that all she could get though?
She just took it out off one credit card. I'm like, you took it off of one credit card and you had multiple, because she said that she left all of her credit cards there. Like, you
I'm
only took it off of
poor
one
and I
credit
have
card.
like a $2,000 credit on my credit card.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
you
but
only
can
took
you get cash
$500.
though?
Huh?
I can't get 2,000 in cash off of my card. I would only be able to get a third of what my thing is. So that's
Well,
usually how it works.
But here's my thing is, she only took $500 and she took a bus to Georgia from California. That's a hefty fucking price tag. That's a hefty bus trip. And then
Well,
she had
they
to,
had to be like $100 because she had 330 when she got to the bus
Yeah.
stop. So.
so I was like, okay, maybe you should probably. I know she was trying to get out and escape and everything, and she packed everything that wasn't thrown away. Why? Why don't you just take it? It's not like he can wear it. It would be something better than what you were wearing, which was a pair of cut-off jeans and a freaking tank top that didn't hide a damn thing. You know, she wasn't set up to really like be the
Brightest
weird.
tool in the shed.
Yeah. And I think she was actually pretty smart. Like, I don't think that she was supposed to be like that, but she was set up like that. And I was just like, why? And then I understand her not wanting to go. I kind of understand not wanting to talk to her family about what was going on. I get that. But at the same time, they really, like, you're so close with your family, you're so close with your dad, and you're a daddy's girl, and she, at the end of the book you saw like how close she was with them. Like, you had that relationship. Why
Well, didn't her dad get her in that?
She said that he kind of forced her into it, and I'm like, how?
Yeah, like, I mean, I thought part of it had to be like her dad maybe wouldn't believe her.
That's what she thought, but like the way that they
'Cause
did at the
I
end,
mean,
it was just that.
If my dad had
connectivity.
handed me over to this guy, I wouldn't go to him first either. Because
Well,
it's
he
not
wasn't
worth
like
the
that in the
risk.
beginning. He changed after they got engaged, I think, is when it happened. And he started
It's
getting.
not worth the risk. Like, I would get away first. Because what if she goes to her dad and the dad's like, well, I'm going to talk to him. And he goes and talks to the guy about it, and then you're fucked. And now you can't get away ever. I don't know. That was an issue for me of like why she ran, because I mean, she could so believe that he has a stranglehold on everything that she just took what she could to go.
Mm-hmm.
That works for
I
me.
thought it was more unbelievable how it worked out that the guy she was walking through the garden with was a cop and he was connected to the Russian mob. I was like, okay, that's sure. That was the more unbelievable part to me.
That one actually, I believed. That one I actually bought. I was like, okay,
They wanted to get close to her to get to him.
yeah,
They were trying to use her.
yeah. I
You
got
haven't
that
read enough
part.
Mafia, Becky. That's what we gotta
I
get you.
have. God, this one it felt weird to me. I'm like, I just don't buy this of these characters. Like, this guy's connected to the Russian mob? Really? Okay. Nowhere in there was that a setup, but sure.
Yeah, but I think she should have planned a little bit better, even just a little bit, because she had resources. Obviously, he didn't keep cash from her and stuff like that. But now when we get to said town and she's hitchhiking, okay, here's my thing: doing stupid things with your person. My husband has this live show on the television right now. I'm literally watching myself on TV.
You're a TV star.
You're a dick, dude.
Well, stop fucking
Sorry. Anyway, I just look up and I just see me on the television. I'm like, God damn it. Anyway, so So here's my thing: doing stupid things with her person, hitchhiking. Like, okay, I understand you don't have a lot of money right now, but hitchhiking, that's like what? No, that's and she looks at how she's dressed. Come on, really? That's dumb. And you're shocked that the guy starts to assume he wants something from you in the truck. It's like, you're doing stupid things by getting in trucks with people. Stop. Like, you're out of the state. Call the police at that point. You're across the country. Call the police at that point. You didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid choices. So,
Yep.
yeah, it was she just did stupid things to her person. And then we get to the restaurant, and then I didn't really start having a problem with her. I had an issue with the secrecy. Like, I didn't quite know, which I guess it was not an issue. It's kind of like, could have gone somewhere. Like, I thought for a while that maybe Huxley was working for the fiance
Yeah.
for a hot
You know,
minute.
That's what I got too. I was
That's
like,
what I was
we're supposed
feeling,
to.
and then it turned down to something else. So I kind of enjoyed that little twist because I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, you just got into two strange vehicles with two people you didn't know.
like after you were
Got
abused
away from the
by
first
your
creepo.
husband, you're just
Like,
gonna
oh,
be that
well-
trusting with strange men.
Yeah, you can hold my driver's license, you can hold my knife, and you can hold my phone. Really?
You're still a man. You could still overpower.
Lauren, did you read the book? He's making comments on our video. Of course, hitchhiking is illegal, but so is trying to, abusing your fiance. But what can you do?
You asked for that one, dude. He had the first introduction of the hero. He was objectifying her. Yeah. Paraphrasing, she's a
That was
wa-
one thing I didn't
Well,
like.
Yeah.
or he's saying what Jackie just said.
Yep.
I felt like he was so focused on just like banging her and he said, "Oh, she made me a better man." And I think one of my comments in my review was like, "How, with her vagina? Because that's the only thing you focused on.
Yeah.
Like, what about her made you a better man?"
Yeah.
Sex was that
You
good.
it's not like he was a horrible man because of just because he wants to have sex with people. So what? He does a good his job that he does is a good job.
Mhm.
It's
Oh
not
yeah, that is. But it's just like, what else about her? What else did he say anything?
I agree
you
with
liked
you.
about her?
I agree with you. But him
Oh,
saying
okay.
makes me a better man. I'm saying it's not like you are the scum of the earth just because
Yeah.
you like to bang people. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
makes you Prince Charming.
I almost kind of wish we would have seen something like that because he made it sound like he was a really big tool. And
Yeah.
it's like, so you
Because
have a
he
bunch
slept
of
with all the
one-night
women here?
stands? Like, okay. What a lot of people do that. That doesn't make them a tool. I mean, it doesn't make them, the greatest person in the world, depending on how they end things. But if you end things, I mean, you could have a lot of one-night stands and be completely normal because you're open about it. As long as you're open and honest about it, who fucking cares? But he made it sound like he was playing the girls and he leading them on. And I'm like, I don't see that. I don't see that with this guy. But the objectifying part, you get that in romance, you get the internal monologue, and it's fine. That's his internal monologue. It's not like he was actually saying that to her. To her
Yeah,
face.
I get that, but I just
plot
wish
thing.
he would have.
But it was just
something else.
My thing with her is you're doing stupid things. You did a baller ass thing and got away from a total fucking tool and a douchebag, and you're risking yourself by putting yourself in really scrappy situations instead of using your head. And she's not a stupid person because later on in the book she starts putting things together, and it's like, you're not stupid. So why were you doing stupid things at the beginning? And then know your name. I can't stand the name. I can't. I changed her name. I stopped reading it. I stopped reading her name. I changed her name to Gigi.
Gigi.
Because I couldn't. I was like, I can't say this. In my head, I'm like, However, the one of the dramatic points, so it's after their first hookup and they're in his room and he tells her that, I don't do relationships or anything like that. That blow up was completely out of proportion. I'm like, really? I don't even understand how that blow up just happened, but apparently we're in a fight now. I didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, are you trying to force something so they don't have anything to talk about, and then give them a reason to kind of stay away from each other? I
Didn't
thought
they
it was
know
kind of
each other for like 2 days at that point?
yeah,
3
exactly.
days maybe?
Like I'm trying to, you let me in, and then you're shutting me down because I'm questioning. Yeah, I'm questioning you because you're doing stupid shit. That's why I'm questioning you. So I don't know. It's she was strange. Like the first part of the book, and it felt like there was 2 different books. We were working with 2 different books also for some of the books, because like the first part I got this one feel from each character, and the second part they were like different characters. They were still the same, but they were a lot different. Like he was a lot more smoother. He was a lot more focused. She was a lot more smart.
Mm-hmm.
She was smarter, more smart.
Wow.
She was smarter. Let me get grammar here. So, yeah, like definitely like there's a definite first part and second part of this book, and they're quite different.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. Connections. Did you guys find any?
No.
I didn't find a single one.
I wasn't looking for any.
No, I didn't find a single one in this one at all.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Nope.
And I actually looked for this, like, because I was like, I wonder how the
Like
connections
I
are
always
tying.
I'll look for them too, but I'm just like I didn't
We'll
spot any.
see now, like, because there's some other dark romances coming up in it, so maybe that will connect to.
So back to these.
Yeah, but back to Goddess, and there's also another one next month. So who knows? Maybe someone will have went to that club or heard of the gay blacksmith online or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll just see.
All right, let's get to the smut level.
Yeah, we're higher.
Yep.
I officially, well, I mean, Goddess was. I officially gave Goddess a full 3 chili peppers for that one.
Yeah.
Based on the amount of scenes and the size.
I gave it 3 too.
But
yeah, I like the fact that he picked her up a lot and put her against a wall. I just thought that was cool. I was like, he did that multiple times.
Well, as I said, I was kind of joking earlier. I was like, we did it in different places, in different positions, and there was even a little bit of like kinky stuff too, because I think there was some like throat grabbing in one of them even. So I was like,
there was a lot of allusion to a lot more kinky stuff that we didn't see.
Right.
Which I was excited. I was like, oh, we're gonna get. Nope.
He said he's like, wait till you find out what I'm into, and then they don't do it. And I was like, such a
bring it on, dude. Let me see it. Damn.
Would have been more interesting if you'd actually done some of those, but.
So little thing in this book, I thought it was really funny that they never spent the night together.
Right. Oh God, I hate that.
Yeah, like he never they fucked all the they fucked in multiple areas, but they never spent the night together, because when they get taken over or whatever, they're in separate rooms, and they makes a point to say, I'm glad I stayed in separate rooms, because if we hadn't, there's no way I could have done this. I'm like, so you're just banging and leaving. Cool.
Well, maybe they're those kind of couples who fuck each other and then go spend the night in their separate rooms.
Yeah.
I know somebody like that, okay?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I know people like that too, but I'm like, I don't want that in my Bromance books. I don't want that.
The first time I heard that, I was like, okay.
Yep, I've heard of that.
Well, there's actually like 30% of couples, because of like sleep arrangement, that don't. But again, it's true. There's usually supposed to be a moment that it's a change in a romance book. Like it's supposed to be like, I've never slept beside someone before. And they fall asleep and they're like, oh, what? I let my guard down. Like that's supposed to be a thing.
Yeah.
Like that's supposed to be a thing, but he never did. Which they could have made it, like they honestly too could have made that where it's like he has to take his turn at like guard duty. So that's why he was in a different room. But it's honestly like they never share a room, because he's like keeping distance the whole time. And I'm like, that is what still makes you a bit scummy when it all comes and goes.
I feel like these two would not last long outside this book.
Oh no, I totally
Well,
agree.
even when they come back, when she comes back and she's like, "Why didn't you call me? Why are you in this hotel room by yourself? Like, you're here to bang all these other girls." Like, she even accuses him of it. He's like, "I'm only here because I
They'd
need
be
time
a
away." My
divorce.
mom would get too in my face about it. Oh, okay. Like, you didn't talk to her the entire time she was gone after all this shit went down? Dumb? No, that wasn't cool. Heat, however, low spice rating. There was not
Only a 1 for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was not enough in that, but I liked what I did get.
Yeah.
What I got, thought was done really, really well. So I do enjoy that.
Like, I thought they had more chemistry than Heat.
True. Then Goddess. He had more
Yeah.
chemistry than Goddess.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. There was
I
more.
also think it's funny though that it was called Heat, and I know it's called Heat because he's a blacksmith.
Yeah.
It's definitely not called the Heat for the
Mhm.
heat.
Yeah.
No.
They were sweet. They have chemistry of like being a good couple, but I honestly didn't feel any like spice chemistry from them at all, which was kind of made me sad.
Mhm.
Like there wasn't
Because he was
even,
described to
like,
be
subtle
gorgeous, and I was like,
touching. Yeah, there wasn't like subtle touching or like
Mhm.
there wasn't even enough kisses. Like God,
yeah.
I wanted more. I wanted more.
That one could have been. Heat had a lot of promise, but it just didn't. It had its sweetness, and that's why I gave the score I did, because it made me.
Yeah.
It was just a nice, sweet
It was
story.
like on the sweet pepper scale, not the spicy
Yeah.
pepper scale.
Yeah, it was a sweet pepper scale. You need to work on creating that one. Like, you're the sweet level. Thanks. But no, the smut level for these, I really wish I knew who wrote what parts in Goddess so I could find out what scenes Stax wrote versus what scenes Watson wrote, and like figure that, because there were some scenes where it was a lot more carnally graphic, and there was others that were slightly had more of an emotional component to it, and I'm wondering who wrote what. I have assumptions, but I can't.
I
actually
feel like the first
I read
half
both
of
of
it
these
was written by one, and the second half was written by another. Maybe that's why it felt like two separate books.
It could be, yeah. That could be. Now, they have written books together before too, so they have other books together.
They write most of their books together.
They do.
I don't know that he's written a book on his own. Like I'm pretty sure he partners for them all. Because that's like when I first stumbled across his TikTok like a few years ago, it was always like I am half of a writing like duo, but like they're not the duo that like smashes their name together. Like they just always write together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. So
Gotcha.
It
would've been
felt
nice.
to me like the second half of the book, it felt like it was probably written by a guy. Like just the way the sex scenes were written, I felt like it was written by a guy. I know it's bad to say, but
I don't know, because the first scene when they're on the car or they're in the back of the truck, there was a lot of emotional behind that one, and then the rest of them were more like kind of carnal based, but they had already had the initial sex component. You know, they already had the conversations and everything, so I could see why it started becoming more carnalized and more just like, hey, we're just super sexy fun times, we're gonna do this, versus I want to make this sweet and special, and I'm gonna listen to you talk but not talk about myself, which I thought was kind of funny that he completely forgot to talk about himself and explain his story, which might have alleviated half the fucking problems that the second part of the book had. Conveniently. So. I don't know. Anything else about the smut level we want to talk about? Ooh, I got comments.
you snore apparently.
I'm gonna be a widow tomorrow.
Jackie snores.
It's my husband, guys. He's a kidder. Yes, and I do snore. Okay, I do. Whatever. Fuck off.
Interest live, Jackie. That is marital support.
He loves me anyway. Let's see. That's not bad to say. Men typically write sex scenes much more mechanically. Usually you see that in thrillers. This will be my second male author that I've read because I just read another one earlier this month. And I knew that was a male writing it, but I couldn't tell the difference. But it was also the first time I ever read that author too. So I don't know exactly his style just yet. I haven't had enough experience with his style to really say like, yeah, this is a guy versus this is a chick. You know, and
Like
honestly,
honestly, I couldn't tell you either because I pay no attention to authors, like what their gender is or anything like that. So unless somebody says, "Hey, this is a man,"
Yeah.
I would
I
never.
am really excited to read Jagger Cole, not only because I did not know that that was a man. I have read one Jagger Cole before, but I did not know it was a man, and I'm very excited.
is that next month?
It's not any of these. I'm reading it for the Mafia Readathon.
Oh, the Marathon. Okay.
But it's one that's straight up a man. But I believe there's a man next month too. When I was looking at the titles, I think there's a man next month. But I think he's writing the gay. I think it's a gay man writing that one. So not that that always makes a difference, because I've read lots of gay men writing romances who wrote very carnal scenes. So.
All right. So since we are in authors now, would you pick either one of these authors up again based off of this installment?
Nope.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. Yeah. Probably.
I might pick up, like, because I might pick up another S.R. Watson and Ryan Stack's one, because I thought he had one, like he just came out with one that was just by himself, or I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. But I thought he did. So I might pick up them again, because just to see if it was just this storyline that, you know, didn't really work, or it's just kind of that writing technique. But neither one of them really like stuck out. Like, I want to read you again.
Yeah, like neither of them had me like searching their backlist, being like, what else do you write? You know?
Yeah. So that's a no across the board, I guess.
No.
All right. Final thoughts and takeaways, guys. What you got?
I'm proud of myself that I read both books this month.
I need to not make myself read both books when I don't have the time. With Heat, I was like, well, I'll get through it. And I did. But
I read Heat in one sitting. Not because, like, the length is fairly easy to do, but, like, it didn't feel like any time at all when I was reading it. Like, it did keep me invested in it, but I think it's just because I really liked the idea that it was sweet. After all the shit that I read this week, I was like, I need some sweetness. Damn it. I didn't have the best week. I
think it also doesn't help Heat that when I finished it this afternoon, I was immediately back into this. And Lisa Kleypas writes romance better than anyone else that I've read. And I'm just like, this woman puts her words together in this way that just blows my mind. And then you compare it to something else, and it's like the difference between a first grader writing their name and like a professor writing their name type thing, where you're just like, you tried your best. You did your best. You get an A for effort. But
Daryl Banner is the male author next month for Jerk.
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen.
I'm not looking forward to reading because it sounds like a bully romance.
Do you not like bully romances?
No, I hate them.
I like bully romances. It's actually the only place I like it. Because if a man's being mean to a girl, I'm very much not going to like him. But if it's like two like alpha men maybe being mean to each other and then fucking it out of each other, I like that. But that's big to me.
It totally works. So next month we have Illicit. We have Illicit by Jessalyn Jameson, and we have it down as an office romance with BDSM. Yes. We have Jerk by Daryl Banner, an MM romance and rom-com. And we have Kisses by Christine Duggar. Looks like it's a student professor, one night stand, and age gap. I'm looking forward to that one and illicit.
Well,
Sure.
if the bully romance is a rom-com, it must not be like that much of a bully.
Yeah.
Like if
Maybe
it's listed
like a
as a
joking
rom-com.
bully.
Well,
I
yeah.
don't know that it is bully.
Maybe
I
he
just
was a
from
high-
the title, I was like, oh, this sounds like a bully.
Oh, well, I mean, maybe he was a jerk in high school. He was a bully, and now later on, that could be it. So it could be like he was a high school bully, but we're not set in high school. That could be it. We'll see. Cool.
Oh, that's what we got next month. So we got 3. That'll be fun. So how are you guys feeling about this so far? Just kind of like, is it fun to experience these, or just kind of?
I'm always in it for you guys. I've said it, and I'll say it again. I haven't read anything life-changing. But it's also not that big of a deal to read a couple books every month so that I can hang out with you guys. So
Same.
So yeah, I do feel kind of meh about it, but I don't feel meh about you. So there you go.
There you go. It's a present like bully romances. And
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Lots of people
Enemies
do.
to Lovers. I don't know about Bully, but I did like Bully by Sophie Lark. I have not read Bully by Sophie Lark yet.
I tried to read my first Sophie Lark and it did not go good.
Which one did you
Well,
pick?
where did you start?
I tried to read Anastasia
Fair enough.
and I did not finish it.
I started with the Brutal Prince series. That's where I
See,
started.
what I should have started with, but I didn't own
That's
that
because
one.
I watched
Oh.
this one's video on the reading order of Sophie Lark. That's
Yeah.
why I started with that one. I
I
was
went
like,
with the one I owned and I was like, oh, I love fantasy romance. I love Anastasia. And then I was like, this is so damn boring.
I actually am excited about that one. Like, it's on my TBR. I'm excited about reading, not my monthly TBR, but it's on my overall TBR. I'm really excited about doing that, but I want to finish her brutal birthright series before I get into anything else. So I like the monthly hangout with you guys more than the books. Hell yeah, because we're fucking awesome.
That's why I'm here.
Yep.
I just want to talk books with people.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I read them.
But I still
Consider changing up the books, but keeping the ABC theme.
Oh, I mean, that's cool. Maybe we'll do that next year.
Yeah, like I kind of like this ABC theme thing. I think that's fun, but yeah, next year if we do it, we should probably
Here's what we're gonna do.
You know what you should do? Oh, go ahead.
No, be first. What I'm predicting we do is that we just dole out the letters to each other, and we bring each month, we pick the books, but not have 3 a month. But we pick the letters. We pick 1 a month, but we do it that way. Which I guess that wouldn't work because we wouldn't get through 26 if we did that. But
Yeah.
Figure it out where we did it that way. So
Yeah.
we're picking the ABCs instead of this, but we just did this because this was the challenge that Jackie found. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's still trying basically 26 authors none of us have read in a pretty painless way. I haven't.
I
if
like
I
the fact they're all novellas. That is the cherry on top of all this, that they're novellas. So it's 180, 150 pages here.
We're still only less than a third of the way through.
Yeah.
There's still a chance that one book is amazing. And I mean, I read 500 books a year. So if 1 out of 26 ends up being a 5-star, that's my average anyway. So
Yeah. No, I've actually thought about next year, what I kind of want to do with this. And I actually had kind of that idea of, but me and Jen, drawing letters, and then you would pick the book for that month. And that's the book that we would read based off of that letter. So it's we could either do it in keep in alphabetical order. So it'd be okay, I'm going to draw, this month and this month, those are my letters. But I'm picking the book that goes with it. Because then we won't get a book that's second in a fucking series. That's the thing that's annoying me about this whole thing is I don't like that we've had 2 of those, that they are the second book in a series.
Yeah.
That's
We'll figure it
irritating.
out. I cannot think about 2024 yet. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about it in November or something. Right now,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm good with keep going. Like,
I was thinking you should do like a spreadsheet and like have people like submit books and then like pick whichever book got like the most submissions for each letter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
kind
feel
of
like
fun.
Jen would be like, I read all of these.
Well, no, I feel like it's kind of that, but it's also like for something like this, just as being someone who's run a lot of book clubs and like read-alongs, it's like better that like the hosts pick what they want to because they're the ones who are going to stick around for everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the people hosting are the people that will stick around. So if there's like, ends up being like 4 or 5 people who want to host, they can be the ones putting books in, right? Whereas if it's like viewers, you can have a viewer who shows up to like drop a rec and then never tunes back in because something happens or they just don't care. They just wanted to throw something in. And then you're reading a book and I was like, who idea was this? And I was like, oh, it's Susie. We've never even heard of her or seen her again.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Like, never even seen her again. Whereas like there's, I think it'd be fun to do either. Or we can pick a different theme. But I do like the idea of it being randomized, but we'll still go through the alphabet. That's a cool
Yep.
thing. Change it up.
Yep.
We'll figure it out. Either
Yep.
way, I'm still not bored. I'll still do this. We'll have to figure out for next month though, and make it as close to the end of the month as possible since we have 3 books to do.
Yeah.
So
I don't have
we'll
my
figure
phone
it
with me,
out.
so I can't look at the dates.
No, it's okay.
Because the month of May is our big one because it's we have a wedding, we have my birthday, we have my daughter's graduation, and then the last week of May is the only week of May that I don't have something to do on the weekends. So, and we have the Mafia Romance Readathon in May at the very beginning. So, very excited about that.
Nice.
Ooh, what's this?
I'm gonna try and
I
participate.
would love to do a monthly Mafia read along, and each month is a different Mafia group, and each of you pick a book. That's kind of a cool fucking idea. Not gonna lie, it's pretty dope. Especially since I really like Mafia Romance. That's my OG.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Jen's reaching an end to this. I still have a lot of work to do.
All right.
And it's 8:45.
Okay. Yeah, it is actually. This is one of our longer ones. All right. Well, that is what we got for you guys this go around. We will check our Instagrams and our channels for the upcoming date for May's month, but it is 3 books, so try your best. And I believe all 3 of these are actually on Kindle. I think I checked last 2 days ago. They were all on Kindle as of 2 days ago. So
Yes.
I think they are too.
Yep.
Yep.
So I will say goodbye. Bye, guys. Bye,
Bye,
our guests. Thanks
everyone.
for dropping
Thanks for
in and hanging
coming.
out with us this time. We'll hope to see you again soon. And I will log us
Until
out.
next
Bye, guys.
Bye.
time.